How's it going, everybody? I just wanted to come onto this live stream and give you an updated forecast for the rest of our next 8 days. Now, take a look at our satellite and radar. Those winds are beginning to shift and vary a little bit. However, throughout the majority of today, we did see them coming in from the north. Now, as we go into tomorrow, and especially going into your Saturday, they are going to become more southerly. And the reason why is farther out to our northwest is a cold front that we've been tracking. And you can see there's a big warm sector ahead of it with southerly winds getting pulled into that area. And that's exactly what's going to move across us. So just expect some dew points to rise up and a little bit more humidity by the time we get into, let's say, tomorrow, and especially by your Saturday afternoon. Now for today, it was a warm one out there, and our high temperature today, 92 degrees. So we did set a new record for a high temperature on October 16th. Our old record was set all the way back in 1899 of a high temperature of 91. So yeah, just an example of just how way above average we have been when it comes to October so far, and especially for the middle of it. Now, temperatures right now have fallen down into those upper 70s at 77 degrees. Dew point's starting to rise up a little bit, and you can see those winds already starting to shift, coming in from the west-southwest now at just 5 miles per hour. Once we get into our overnight, we are expecting overnight lows to fall down into those upper 50s to the lower 60s, and a few more clouds starting to roll in by the time we get past midnight tonight. So partly cloudy conditions as you're waking up tomorrow, and above average as well. Now take a look at our 3-day forecast. For your Friday afternoon, another warm day, 89 degrees, some of us in the lower 90s as well across the Magnolia State, and partly cloudy skies. For your Saturday and Sunday, morning lows going to be starting off in the mid-60s, so warm conditions there as well. Then by your Saturday, another warm afternoon with the possibility of a few stray showers, but late on our Saturday night going into our Sunday morning, so an overnight event. That's when that cold front's going to approach us and cross us, and that could give us the possibility of some stronger storms. So we'll track it out. This is your Saturday morning, starting off dry, just mostly clear conditions as well. As we get to the afternoon hours, that's where we could just see a few stray showers here and there popping up. But the main line of storms really starting to push in, let's say around the time we get to around 7 p.m., crossing over the Mississippi River and moving into some of our Delta counties already. As we keep on progressing, we get to around 10 o'clock. That's when we're expecting one of the first waves to push in closer to the Jackson metro area, and a secondary wave pushing on in right behind it as well at around 1 a.m. So you could be waking up on your late night hours to some rumbles of thunder. And as we keep on progressing, we get to around, let's say, 4 o'clock on our Sunday morning. That's when it's pushing its way farther east, starting to cross into parts of Alabama. And past that, as we get to your Sunday morning, as you're waking up, headed to church or anything like that, maybe a few lingering showers, but that cold front's going to keep on pushing its way to the southeast, and that's really going to help to push all the rain out of the area. Now, we do have a marginal risk in effect for all of us out there. Well, not all of us out there. The Pine Belt isn't in it, but for central, farther up to our north and out to our west, a level 1 out of 5. Our main threat when it comes to this line of storms is going to be some damaging wind gusts. Small hail will be possible as well. And of course, you can never rule out the possibility of a quick spin-up tornado, but when it comes to really what we're going to be worried about is a strong wind gust pushing across as that cold front keeps moving as well. Now, we'll take a look at the timing of this. Farther out to the northwest, let's say around 7 p.m. to about 1 a.m. Then it'll cross on over into central parts and farther down to our south, and that's where we're expecting around 10 p.m. until about 4 a.m. Take a look at the total amount of rainfall. 1 to 2 inches for central to north Mississippi, and the farther down south you look, half an inch to an inch is what we're expecting. Which the nice part about this system is we're getting the rain, and we definitely need it because our drought conditions as of this morning have been updated. Still not looking too good. As you can see, 80% of the state is dry, 43% moderate, 10% severe, and 1% extreme. Now, North Mississippi is really where we're seeing the worst conditions right now, especially with that severe and moderate drought. But luckily, when it comes to this cold front, that's where we're expecting the heaviest downpours, so they'll get a little bit of help out there with that. Now, we're going to talk about our 10-day temperature trend because it is a cold front crossing over us, which means we are going to expect cooler conditions. So by the time we get to your Sunday, stretching out to your Tuesday, we're expecting the lower 80s for high temperatures. It's really going to feel a lot more comfortable as you're stepping out the door, and just a really nice, more fall-like day. Then, by the time we get to your Tuesday, we are tracking the possibility for a secondary front possibly moving across the area, and if that does happen, by Wednesday, middle of next week, we are expecting high temperatures just possibly in the mid to upper 70s. So really just going to feel a lot cooler when it comes to next week in general. Now, talking about the tropics, we got one system that's farther out into the northern end of the Atlantic, but luckily we're not too worried about that. The one we're keeping an eye on is in that southern part of the Atlantic, pushing its way west, and by the time we get into this weekend, and especially by next week, that's when we're expecting to start pushing into the Caribbean Sea. And when that begins to happen, that's when you really have to start paying attention to things, because the Caribbean Sea waters, they're very warm, and there's enough fuel for these systems to really spin up and get a little bit stronger. And typically when systems move into the Caribbean Sea, they could potentially move into the Gulf as well. Now, don't want to freak anybody out because we have plenty of time to watch this system, and it's still a low chance of development through the next 7 days, but it's just something you got to keep an eye on, and of course, we'll keep on tracking it and keep letting y'all know all the updates when it comes to the tropics. Now, we'll recap your 8-day forecast real quick. For tomorrow, it's going to be another warm one out there. We're starting off in the lower 60s and high temperature back into the upper 80s with a few of us in the lower 90s. Partly sunny skies as well. Saturday afternoon, warm again, upper 80s, but then by our Saturday night going into our Sunday morning, strong storms moving into the area, all due to that cold front. We are going to see those temperatures fall down into the lower 80s starting your Sunday to your Tuesday, and the potential for a secondary front coming in on our next week Tuesday, which would cool us down even more by the middle of next week. So I hope everybody has a good rest of your Thursday evening. Of course, have a good Friday and weekend as well. Just make sure to be paying attention when it comes to these storms coming